Hey everyone, James Dunn here from CJDC-TV. You know, it's by-election time here in Fort St. John, and we're taking a look at all 5 of the candidates that are eyeing for your vote on the May 15th by-election. Today it is Thomas Whitton. Thanks for joining me here, Thomas.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So we're at Festival Plaza. It just opened to the public for bookings, but first of all, let me just just tell me a little bit about yourself.
A little bit about me. That's a long question. We could be here for a couple of hours. To start off with, I'm a father here in Fort St. John. I've been here for going on 10 years now. As many people across the north, I came here on the 1-year plan. I'm on year about 9.5 now. My son's going into school here shortly, and I want to make sure that I leave the best possible community when he starts getting out of school.
And of course, you came here on the 1-year plan. You came here from Calgary, and what made you decide to move here? I'm guessing it was for work, but you came here on the 1-year plan, but you decided to stay. You've been here for 10 years now. What made you decide, you know what, this is home?
Okay, so I'm not just from Calgary. I've actually lived in Saskatchewan as well. I lived up in the Northwest Territories. I've lived in Southern BC. Between Calgary and here, I was kind of all over the place. I came here with one of the financial institutions in town and decided, after about a year or so, 2 years in, I joined the local credit union, try something a little bit different. And when I started getting involved in the community around us, I realized the amount of amazing people we have here. With Rotary Club and most recently with the Kin Club, there's a lot of great champions in Fort St. John and in other aspects of our lives as well. Just going around town, the champions that you see are very powerful, and they really strive to make Fort St. John a better place, and I want to be part of that. I want to help make Fort St. John a better place.
And of course, you'll be running for City Council. So with your previous experience, just tell me a little bit about your previous work experience, previous jobs that you've held.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was in the financial industry for about 10 years, and that was the majority of where I spent my career time. So I was in the financial industry. I was doing mortgages. I was here for about 7 years, up until 2017. Most recently, about 3.5 years ago, I moved into the technology industry, which is never somewhere that I put myself. You know, I thought banking was going to be the be-all, end-all for myself. But then I got to try something new, and I got to reestablish my love for technology, and I got to learn new things, and I got to understand more about information and how you can get into contact with people other than just through the grapevine, and really connect back with people. And since then I've also learned a lot about business and how they integrate within the community. My job right now is as a software solutions specialist at Ideal Office Solutions, a local business here in town. That there's so much more to business that meets the eye, and it's nice to be able to experience that with different businesses across the region.
Right. With that previous experience, what about it makes it worthwhile that now that you're running for City Council, what about that previous experience makes you qualified for a City Council position?
So I'll start off with the banking side of it. I spent 10 years learning about fiscal responsibility and really trying to understand how the people aspect comes into play when you're talking about somebody's biggest life decision, when you're talking about getting them a home. And there's times when things go great and everything goes perfectly just as it's supposed to be planned, and the person gets into their house and they're happy. And then on the other side, there's times when you don't necessarily have to change the end goal, but we maybe had to change the plan. And that perspective of not necessarily changing the goal of where we need to be as a community, but maybe changing the plan of how we get there, I think that that's really important, to be able to be flexible and to be able to adjust the way that we think and work for the people that are there and do people-based decisions. That's really important for me.
So of course, City Council has a lot of unique positions. So what about your positions that makes it unique so that way you can bring something different to the table?
So I think the biggest aspect, I bring that family freshness. I have 2 kids of my own, and I understand where the average Fort St. John voter is. The average Fort St. John person is 30 and a half. that is very, very important for our voices to be heard. And you know what? Everybody tells me around, as I go out and talk to people, they're like, are you sure you can get 30-year-olds out to vote? Because the turnout is not great. In our last by-election, we had 7% turnout. I hope that, yes, absolutely, even the 25 to 35-year-olds get out, and we can have a perspective that brings in our families and the future, and not necessarily a reactive future where we deal with problems in the crisis moments, but where we be proactive and we handle large situations before they become large situations. We see ahead of the problems and we deal with them before they become to that point.
So I guess just my last question would be, what's your message to voters? What is the one thing that makes you different compared to your opponents?
I am what I would refer to as the fiscally responsible person with a social conscience. Like I said, I understand that we need to deal with problems before they become crisis moments, and we can do it fiscally responsibly, and it has been proven. I'm willing to open my eyes to what other municipalities are doing, and I'm willing to take those steps and push in the directions that we need to, whether it be locally, provincially, or federally.
Well, this was a great conversation. I loved learning more about you, and hopefully you did too. The by-election is on May 15th, but you can check out more about the issue side of where our candidates think on May 3rd with our All Candidates Forum from 7 until 8:30. Be live streamed right here on the CJDC social media pages.